Hi everyone, my name is Ajit and I'm with the San Jose Public Library and welcome to video number 7 of our guitar tutorial series. In this video, I'm going to be showing you what strumming patterns are, what they are, an example of them, and I'll teach you how to play them. So let's get right into it. Okay, so what is a strumming pattern? So a strumming pattern is kind of this pattern or rhythm played by someone who's playing the guitar, and you typically play with chords. So you strum different chords in this pattern or rhythm with a certain timing, and yeah, it's pretty much a strumming pattern. And there's many variations of patterns. There's like tons of patterns. The only main thing is it has to have a rhythm or a pattern or this timing. So in strumming patterns, you typically use a downstroke, an upstroke, and a mute stroke. So you guys could probably already guess what a downstroke and an upstroke are. So here's what a downstroke is. You're just strumming the chords in a downwards motion, like this. That's a downstroke right there. And the upstroke is pretty much just the opposite. You're strumming the chord with an upwards motion, like this. And a mute stroke, it might be kind of new to y'all, but basically you're just muting all the strings. You're not actually like playing the chord, you're just like, you're kind of just like muting it. You might be thinking, what's the point of that? But once you start playing patterns, you will see that it's actually useful in the pattern, and I'll be just showing you that later. Okay, so for strumming patterns, you probably want to use a metronome with it when you're practicing. So I have a metronome right here, and we're going to be doing a basic pattern at first, and then we're going to be moving on to more complex like later on. But here's our first basic pattern. So basically our pattern is going to be a pretty simple pattern. It's going to start off with a quarter note, and then a pause, and then 2/8 notes, and then another 2/8 notes, and then another 2/8 notes. So, and you're going to be alternating strokes between, so it's going to be like down, pause, down, up, down, up, down, up, and then you restart, down, pause, down, up, down, up, down, up. So I'm going to do it simple without the metronome first so you guys can see what it sounds like, then I'm going to be using a metronome. And I'm just going to be using the E chord for this, the E major chord. It's going to sound like this. Okay, and now let's hear with the metronome. And like that. So as you can see, after the first stroke, I paused before going on to the next 8th notes with the down and up stroke. And yeah, that's a pretty simple pattern. You guys can do it with any chord you want. It doesn't have to just be the E major. You can also use like the D chord or the A minor or the C or the G. You could use anything. But yeah, that's a pretty basic pattern for now. Okay, so now I'm going to show you our third and our final pattern. And this is going to be a pretty hard one for beginners. It's going to be a slightly hard one, and it's going to incorporate the mute stroke as well. So our pattern is going to start off with a quarter note with a downstroke. Then it's going to have 2/8 notes with a downstroke and then an upstroke, and then it's going to have 4/8 notes, except this time you're going to have a mute stroke and then an upstroke and then a mute stroke and an upstroke. So I'm going to be using an F sharp minor bar chord like this. I'm going to be using the F sharp minor bar chord, and I'll show you how it sounds like. I'm going to be playing it a little faster, so first without the metronome, and I'm going to use the F sharp minor chord, so it's going to sound like this. Okay, and now with the metronome, so I'm going to be playing at 100 beats per minute. And there you go. So as you can see, when I hit the mute stroke, I kind of just hit the strings, but I have my hand placed on the strings like this. So when I hit it, it doesn't actually make a sound. It just makes like a kind of like a thumping sound, like it doesn't actually play the string sound. And that's how you do a mute stroke. And it's pretty useful when you have faster and more complicated strumming patterns. And yeah. Okay, so those are the two strumming patterns that I wanted to show today. And of course, there are way many more ones than the ones I showed you. You just have to go find them. You can search it on YouTube, Google, any of that. They're all going to be different. Some will be simple, some will be complicated, and they're all going to be unique. So you just have to find different ones, practice them, and they all have their own purpose and their own style of playing. And yeah, so that about wraps it up for today's video. We learned about what strumming patterns were. I showed you 2 examples of how to play them. We saw the downstroke, the upstroke, and the mute stroke. And yeah, so I hope you learned something from this video. If you didn't, you might learn something from our future videos, so make sure to subscribe and look out for those. And thanks for watching.